Now to rising violence and physical abuse amongst teenagers, which is a growing concern. 5 Class 12 students of a government college in Andhra Pradesh's Palnad district have been arrested and a Class 11 student detained for assaulting another student, allegedly because of a friendship with a girl student. The video that you're seeing on your screens shows the brutality in the way the teenagers assaulted the boy, locked him in a room, beat him up repeatedly. This is not a case of ragging. The police say the victim had a relationship with another girl, had reportedly friends with another girl, which didn't go down well with a postgraduate student undergraduate student who told other students to take him to a hostel and treat him the way he was treated. There you see that on your screens. None of them were residents of that hostel. This is deeply concerning to any parent or teacher. Psychologist and author Aarti C. Rajaratnam and former IPS officer Vikram Singh join us here on the show this evening. Mr. Singh, there's nothing really new to ask. We keep focusing on every such case because how we react to each one of these cases is a message perhaps to prevent one from happening in the future.
Absolutely right. This is an administrative tragedy that was totally avoidable. What I do feel is that these boys, the aggressors, are serial offenders, intoxicated in alcohol and substance, probably ganja. They are serial offenders. This is not the first time that they have come to light in such brutal acts of vandalism and bullying. And you very rightly mentioned, it is not ragging at all. This is plain and simple bullying and almost a murderous assault on a person who is surrounded by 5 hoodlums. Now, I do hope that the police, when they make up the charges, don't treat the assailants as minors, because what they are doing is an absolutely premeditated, and of course, they are fully aware of the consequences of their actions. The intoxication and the brutal manner in which they are assaulting the victim goes to show that they have little or no regard for hitting on the vital parts. It could easily lead to the death. I'm very appalled and also shocked by the lapses committed by the authorities of the institution, that these serial offenders have a free run in the hostel. No CCTVs, no wardens, no checks, no cross checks, free movement. They could have done much better, and more so when the assailants happen to be serial offenders. I had expected a lot more in these days of IT and CCTV. But yes, during the course of the debate and the discussion, I would say what more we could have done. This is something that we gave up through caution to the winds. And now we are seeing a situation where the victim has been bruised, literally and metaphorically, for a lifetime, and his anguish and his bruises will never go away.
Right. Aarti Rajaratnam, you must also be extremely disturbed when you see these pictures. We keep discussing these issues, but it's also largely a reflection of the extent of violence that's ingrained in teens, which they've picked up perhaps from social media, from movies, that they can go to this extent of inhumanity.
I need to set certain things in context. In my book, I've specifically written about what's called a mental toxin. A toxin is something that we don't know exists in the environment. So when students are repeatedly shown videos of violence, like, for example, things like rape, you can actually pick how to rape somebody. You can actually Google that and you can find videos. Similarly, assault and things like that are very, very openly and easily available. So when somebody is repeatedly looking at this, watching this, and even in their games, if you don't like somebody, you're competing against somebody, you sort of, just push them off a bike, you just sort of shoot them, things like that. These are all become very, very common for children. So for the teenage brain, which is already struggling to access higher order thinking, where they're able to think through, okay, these would be the consequences of my action, and this is what I shouldn't be doing. I should be talking to the person with more compassion, with empathy, things like that. That's missing. So having said that, in this particular case, like you've already mentioned, it's not ragging, because ragging was more initiatory in nature. This is very clearly, also I did read in a couple of the reports, there was a caste angle as well. So considering all of this, I feel also the way in which we are portraying love and liking somebody is also something that's very skewed. In this particular case, the boy seems to have liked a girl. We don't know, was it just infatuation, what kind of relationship it was. But either way, it was another postgraduate student not liking this relationship. So even dealing with basic human emotions like jealousy, you don't deal with jealousy with so much of aggression and violence. These are things that are not acceptable. And I think it's not something that we can look at in isolation. These are series of events that are happening across the country. Maybe one or two that are so brutally, disturbing are the ones that are getting reported. but it's happening on an everyday basis. And also our movies, look at the stalkers that are being supported. In that we are normalizing that kind of violence. And I think somewhere,
Right.
we'll have to start censoring this information so that the young mind, which is already not capable of making healthy decisions, is not moved to such brutal levels of action.
Yes, as parents, as psychologists, as lawmakers, as law enforcers, it is an extreme concern. I wish we had a little more time to discuss it. Unfortunately, we don't. But this is an issue of grave concern, and we will keep focusing with both Dr. Vikram Singh as well as you, Aarti, on this in the future.